What's cracking, everybody? Today I wanted to make a video showing my R&B female vocal settings, kind of mixing like Kehlani, Jhene, Aiko, that kind of type of style. Artist we're working with, her name is Nelly Ruza. Go check her out. She's really cool. I'll leave her social media in the description. I'm going to give you a little preview of the song, and then we're going to jump right into it. Cool, so that's just a little snippet. Go check her out. I'll leave the socials in the description once again. So this is the hook area right here. What we have going on is we have our lead vocal right here. I gotta play. And then we've got some background vocals right here. So as you can hear, they're definitely processed slightly different. And so what we got going on is basically a lead vocal bus right here. So our lead vocals are being outputted to our lead vocal bus, and we have some slight auto-tune as well. A key of this song was C major, and I had it set to alto tenor because her voice is kind of in the upper region. Excuse me. Her voice is in that upper region, so I used the alto tenor. You could use soprano if the artist's voice is like super high, and it's only about 60, about 59, 23 humanized, so that's a very low setting. It's just doing some minor touch-ups. So once the vocals are being routed to our lead vocal bus, first thing I'm doing is just doing a high pass filter, and I am cutting out a lot of the lows. You don't necessarily have to cut out this much. Maybe give it a high pass around 100, and for female vocals it's slightly different than males. Because with a male vocalist, you know, you want to keep some of that bottom end in the voice. With a female, it's definitely different, so you could get away with cutting out a little bit more low end in this case. And so here's how it sounded, kind of dry. I gotta play it safe. I don't want no waste, no more of my time. As you can see, there's not even that much occupying the low end anyways, so you're kind of just taking out, you know, whatever's left in that bottom area. Next, I'm adding in a virtual mix rack, and this is basically where I'm just adding in slight saturation, kind of using the virtual preamp, which basically just gives it some more warmth to it and some saturation, along with this virtual channel. You don't necessarily need these two. You know, if you're working in Pro Tools, a good alternative to those two is just the stock Avid Lo-Fi plugin. If you have this, all you could do is literally crank this distortion to literally 0.1, and that's going to do a lot for you. You crank that to 0.1, that's going to give you a lot of warmth and saturation, which definitely makes a difference. So if you're in Pro Tools, use that Lo-Fi plugin. It's great. I'm not really doing much with this Neve EQ, except for it kind of just adds some harmonics to it. And then I'm using an LA2A plugin. Now if you have waves, you could use there's a CLA2A. You could use this. That's basically what I'm using, but the Slate Digital version. I know there's free versions of the LA2A plugin as well. Great plugin for female vocalists and singing R&B vocals, because it just kind of smoothens everything out, and it adds a really good character to it as well. So you can see. I gotta play it safe. I don't want no waste, no more. I'm not knocking off too much, just adjusting the peak reduction until I get about around -3 gain reduction. So nothing too crazy going on there. And then I'm feeding all of that into a Renaissance compressor. Basically the stock settings, because the attack and release I think starts off here. So it's a medium attack, medium release. A small ratio, about 2.5. And this is also just kind of smoothing out the vocals even more so. I gotta play it safe. I don't want no waste, no more of my time. So that's just kind of knocking off a little bit more, not too much. And then finally on this chain, we're giving it a de-esser at 7800 and using the wideband setting. Oops. Yeah, using the wideband. Clicked the wrong thing right there. I gotta play it safe. I don't want no waste, no more of my time. So the de-esser, you don't want to do too much on the de-esser. Be very careful with that, because if you take out too much, it's not going to sound good. It might sound like shit. You might sound like you got a fucking lisp in your voice. So try to keep it minimal to de-essing. And then, so what we got going on here, we got a few sends. We got it going to an eighth note delay, quarter note delay, echo boy, and then a plate reverb. So here's all my sends right here. So as for my reverb settings, I'm using Reverb from Waves, and I have it set to Hall number 1. Give it a little bit pre-delay, and it's kind of a long time, about 4 seconds.
I gotta play it safe. I don't wanna waste no more of my.
Now for this, you could kind of go to taste. You might want a little bit less reverb.
I gotta
kind of depends on your taste and what the artist is looking for. And then, so after that reverb, I'm EQing just out some of that bottom end on that reverb just to kind of clean it up. And then I'm doing a good amount of automation as well. For example, I have an eighth note delay, and it's being automated right here. So if you don't know how to do automation, you click this little drop down arrow, and then you can automate your sends. So as you can see, all of these are in orange, meaning they're being automated. So then you click level, and you can drag wherever you want. And that's how you automate in Pro Tools. Same goes for Logic. You can automate. I think if you're in Logic, you press A on a track, and that'll load up your automation. And same type of deal. You can select an area, drag it up or down to automate.
Why should I give you me if you're.
So I think on this eighth note delay, is it actually? Oh no, nah, my bad. That's not even an eighth note delay. I'm actually using Abbey Road Chambers, my bad. And I'm using this preset called Vocal Trip. So if you can hear,
Why should I?
It's like a chamber delay almost. It's a really, really cool preset. I almost don't even know where the fuck I found that preset. It's right here, Vocal Trip. That's the preset I'm using. So if you got this, highly recommend using that. Vocal Trip preset, killer, especially if you automate it.
For me, why should I?
You can hear right there, whew, that sounds so good, right? Like on the tail of a tail on the vocal, you just increase the automation, sounds beautiful. Just adds such a nice tail to that vocal, and it's like very subtle too, but sounds amazing. And then next, I'm automating some quarter note delay, right here.
Risk it all. Risk it all.
So you can hear that's just a standard quarter note delay. I think, okay, so it's half note delay, my bad. I got mixed up because of the timing, but basically you use any delay plugin.
Risk it all.
And then this Echo Boy, forgot exactly what I'm doing right here. Okay, so it's another Abbey Road Chambers, but this time I'm using, it's called Stone Slap. Cool, so it's right in here, Billy Bush, Stone Slap. I'm using that, and I'm automating it for this. I'm actually automating it for both the hooks. As you can see, hook number 2, hook number 1. Just automating it, turning it on for both of those, and here's what that's doing.
I gotta play it safe, can't afford to waste no more of my time.
So what that's doing is it's kind of adding a little bit more stereo to it, and it's like it's basically a slap or a slap delay, and I think there's some kind of, and there's reverb on it as well. It's a really, really awesome plugin. So it's like a delay and reverb in one, and there's some other stuff going on too, I'm not sure, but that slap delay really gives you a cool sound, especially on female vocals. So that's basically it for the automation and main vocal processing. And so for the background vocals, not much is actually going on here. It's very simple. All I'm doing is routing all of the background vocals to a background bus right here named BGs, and then just giving it some EQ, taking out a lot of the low end and mid range, giving it a slight boost in that mid range, because that's what makes it really poke through, is that little mid range boost, and then removing some at 5300 because I felt like that was kind of clashing with the main vocals. And then after that, I'm feeding it into another Renaissance compressor, this time with a little bit of a faster attack to kind of clamp down on them and push it more in the background with kind of a smooth medium release. And that definitely kind of pushes them back. And then I'm adding just a tiny bit of ensemble, which is a stock Pro Tools plugin, just about 2%, kind of giving it some more depth to it. And that was basically all I did for the background vocals, because I think she sent them with reverb already, so I wanted to just kind of keep the integrity of the originals and just kind of add to that. Now, as far as the background vocals for the chorus, kept that kind of the same. EQ'd a lot of the low end out, and mid range did the similar thing. Added a little bit more of a de-esser on this, because with the background vocals, it's kind of just more of a supporting layer. So I kind of was able to de-ess it a little bit more. And then for these little 2 ad-libs right here,
Give you me.
this was more of an effect type of thing, where I added in Decapitator, which is basically just a distortion plugin. Kind of gives it some more grit, and I kind of liked the way how that sounded. And that was basically it for all the vocals. Now, both my background bus and my lead vocal bus are both being outputted to an all vocals down here, where I'm just adding in some final, saturation, emulating a console virtual mix bus.
I gotta play it safe.
Just adding some extra texture and grit to it. And that's basically it for the vocals. I tried to keep it as simple as possible. Where most of the work was being done was really in the automation and the effects, and kind of just messing with those and getting it to sound really cool. And one last thing, so for the Verb plate, or my Verb hall, just my reverb settings, I turned the reverb slightly up for both the choruses, as you can see. I turned it slightly up for the hooks, and then the verses, I turned them down a little bit, just to kind of make the verses more present, and then the hooks kind of more ambient and dreamy sounding. So thought that sounded kind of cool. Hopefully you learned a couple things from this video. If you have any requests for videos, please reach out. Happy to help. And if you need any mixing and mastering, feel free to reach out to me. I'll have my email in the video. And thank you for watching.